What's up, guys? Today's video I'm going to file clearly under the how to sell art category, more from a philosophical standpoint than anything else. And the philosophy that I'm going to drop on you right now is going to blow your mind. Selling your art is never going to bring you happiness. Okay, what? Why would I just jump right in here and just attack you? Straight off like that. Say something so bombastic, just like that right out of the gate. That's how YouTube works, partly. But it's also true. It's true, but it's not true in a bad way. Don't look at that as being a bad thing, because I have good reasons by what I mean by that. I'm going to come back here in a second. I need to get some coffee before I talk more about this. Something happened this weekend, and it was basically I went to a party. Really dark there. Basically, I went to a party with some friends, and I had a conversation with one of the people there early on, and the conversation really gave me a light bulb moment. It wasn't something that I just discovered right in that moment. It was something I had been discovering, but that conversation gave clarity. It shone a light onto something that I already knew. While we wait for the coffee, a little bit of creative backstory, just to kind of give you a sense of how all of this kind of came to mind and where it came from. In 2003, I was working as a graphic designer, art director for a magazine publishing company. I had been working there for a little bit, and during that time period, I was starting to feel a lack of creativity in the job. It was mostly production, not a whole lot of creative. I decided to expand myself outside of the job, and I started painting again. I put my first canvas back up on an easel, and I went at it. And I went at it for about 18 months before I realized I was just not in love with the work I was doing, and decided that, nah, I'm gonna do something else. Started doing some other creative things, and occasionally would put a canvas up on the easel again and do it, but it never really got started with me. I've got a bunch of paintings that probably could be painted over or just thrown out because they're just, they're okay. About 2013, I started to feel this pull within me that the job wasn't going to make me happy anymore. It hadn't made me happy in years, and I knew that I just wasn't going to spend my life there. The writing was on the wall anyway, because magazines are going out of business all the time, and so I was already starting to look for an exit, a look for something different. It just so happened in 2013, that was the year that I got laid off from the job. Now, from 2013 until now, I have been dabbling into different things creatively to kind of find myself, find my soul, find where I belong in this space. First, it started with me doing some graphic design work on the side just to, pay the bills. And I started helping, coaching other people with their creative impulses, mostly from a branding standpoint. But I wasn't happy. I was doing good work, but I wasn't happy with it. Mostly because I'm trying to help people and they're not taking the lessons. And because they're not taking the lessons, I wasn't all that stoked. The only time I would ever get stoked is when I would say something to somebody and they would go do something about it. That's what made me happy. That's what inspired me to go continue to do creative work. And as I fumbled my way around for those few years, I finally got into this rhythm with my own art and decided that it was time for me to center my creative energy on myself, but I was struggling still to find the happiness in what I was doing. And it largely came down to the fact that I was looking for money. I was looking for some sort of fulfillment from sales of the art rather than the art itself or the process itself or what that art meant to the people who did buy. I was constantly looking for some sort of inspiration from the dollars that I would get rather than inspiration from the emotions that I would get, whether I was painting myself or somebody saw that and had this emotional response to it. In 2016, I started this vlog, made my initial video and a couple other videos, and I got such a great response from some of the people that would watch them. I started to realize, like, that's it. That's what makes me happy. Not necessarily the money, but rather the response that I would get from people when I would do things, the response that I would get when people would see my art and they enjoyed it, the response I would get when people would see the videos and they would enjoy it. That's what made me happy. Then I started to think about long term, like how does that play out long term? I still need to eat. So I looked deeper into myself and I felt like, okay, how could I make what I want to make, bring happiness and joy to other people, and turn that into something for myself? The happiness for myself, but also, still, put bread on the table. Coffee's done. Just right. I just watered my plants with coffee. Didn't mean to do that. So now you're probably wondering, where are you going with all this, Dave? Here's the thing. In order for me to do the things that make me happy so that I can make you happy so that you can maybe buy my art, I needed to pare down all the stuff that wasn't making me happy. And I want to be completely real with you in that I have taken a major financial hit from that. In fact, I recently cut out one portion of what I was doing, and that was basically freelancing for the same magazine company that I was working for. I cut that out completely because it wasn't making me happy, which put me in a bit of a tight spot. Because yes, all of this stuff is great. This thing is great. But it wasn't quite bringing in the money that I needed yet. However, I needed to feel good about myself so that I could feel good being on here for you, so that I could go and feel good when I got in front of the canvas, so that somebody else would see this canvas eventually, feel good about it themselves and want to buy it and put money in my pocket so that I could go back and do the whole cycle all over again. So after I made that decision and cut all that other stuff out, my wife and I had a conversation about how this was all going to work. We had talked about me going back to work, which obviously doesn't fall in line with any of what I'm just telling you here, but it was a conversation. It was something we were thinking about, and I was thinking about it for the last several months. So it was like, there needs to be a good base. There needs to be a good foundation for me to continue this on so that I can go do that mindlessly and come back here and be happy about what goes on here. But the logistics of it was not great because, number one, it was probably going to be a more professional job and I'd probably be gone long hours, and we have the son and I'm kind of the primary guy most of the time with him. Long story short, I wasn't finding the right fit because I was looking for something that fit into a category of the kind of work that I wanted to do, but also looking for the money to satisfy the need. And then I saw a help wanted sign in a place that I thought I would never consider myself going into, but I was inspired. A small coffee and pie shop opened up near me within walking distance of my house, and I had this impulse and I went and filled out an application and I got hired. So here I am, a 47-year-old man working at a coffee and pie shop with a bunch of teenagers and kids, 20-something kids, and I've never been happier. I've worked in the food industry for, years way back in the day, so to go back to it is kind of second nature, but being that it's coffee, and of course pie, I mean, who doesn't like pie, but being that it's coffee, I got to learn more about the thing that I love so much. An interesting thing is happening when I've been there. Number one, all the work ethic that I've learned while doing this stuff for myself, focusing my energy on the art and the work and all the business aspects, I've been taking that work ethic and applying it to the shop, and people are noticing. The manager of the place was like, hey, we're going to make you a leader. Which is okay, cool, whatever. I'm not in it for the leadership, not in it for the money. Definitely not in it for the money. But it's good to be recognized. It's good that people are happy with what I'm doing. And it just goes back to it again. This job makes me happy because other people are happy with what I'm doing. And I look back at all the other jobs that I had, even the magazine job. Sure, people were probably happy with some of the stuff I was doing, but I never felt like anybody was like over excited about the work that I was doing. I never got big congratulations from anybody. And it wasn't just because of my work, because nobody did. It wasn't the culture. It wasn't in that to congratulate people when they do great jobs. But I do simple things like take charge of certain things at the shop, and I get like, hey, good job, thanks, Dave, appreciate your work ethic. Here's good things happening to you, and it satisfies me. But the beauty of it is that I can go and have a good time there. Well, a good time is loose because obviously it's still work. I can go there and enjoy myself, come home, still enjoy my family, still get in front of the easel, still get here in front of the camera, and I love every aspect of what I'm doing. Like, I have never been happier. I can honestly say I have never been happier in my life. It's almost crazy for me to say that, because if you looked at me from the outside and said, he's a starving artist working at a coffee shop, you'd think, oh, he isn't a success. And I'm thinking to myself, like, God, this is the best time of my life. I get to do what I want. I get to go to a job that I enjoy. I get to hang out with my kid a lot. This is the American dream for me. So now, jumping back to the conversation that I was having with my friends when we went out to this Christmas party, I get the same questions, same two questions when I walk in that door and I talk to my wife's friend's husband. He says to me, how's the blog thing going? He really doesn't have any idea what I do. He knows I do a vlog and he knows I do a podcast. And he doesn't really have any concept of what that means, but he asks. And then he asks the second question. Yeah, well, how are you making money from that? Of course, it's an incredibly intrusive conversation to have, but it's just his way. You know, I appreciate what he's trying to get at. He's trying to make small talk about things. He comes from a place of where that stuff means more, where the amount of money or how you're making the money is far more important than the things that you really do. That matters to him. And I'm not going to fault that, because if that's what makes him happy, so be it. If he enjoys the grind, if he enjoys, dollar bills, if he enjoys looking at his bank account every month and saying, yes, I'm winning, then so be it. Get down with your bad self. But I'm not inclined to that. And I placate him. I answer the questions and then I just kind of blow it off and we go off and we talk about other things. But it's just funny to me that there are so many people out there who believe that is the American dream. The big house in the nice area with the 2 nice cars in the garage. That's the American dream for them. And it couldn't be any further from the truth for me. Like, even if I had the kind of money that would afford me that kind of lifestyle, I wouldn't spend it there. I'd spend it here. I'd buy a really fancy camera. Not that I need it, but why not? If I had a few extra bucks in my pocket. But the thing is, I don't need it. I've got everything I need right now. And I think that is an important lesson to a lot of artists, is that they have to find the happiness. Because the art itself is not going to make you the money. Sure, you may sell some art, you may sell a lot of art, but what's going to satisfy you for the duration of your life is the happiness and the joy and the passion for the things that you know that you love. Not the work itself, but what drives you to work. That's what makes you the money. I paint, I make videos occasionally, hang out with my son, and I work at a coffee shop, and all of those things all lead up to the happiness that's inside me and makes me want to do more and more of it all. That's my winning formula. You're going to have your own, but I guarantee you that it's not the thing, but the happiness that drives you to the thing that's going to get you there. So long story short, stop sweating the money. Instead, put your energy into the joy that will eventually get you to the money. That's what I'm going to do right now. Oh, and before I forget, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Love you guys. See you in 2018.